I have failed, completely and utterly, not once, not twice, more times than I am comfortable sitting here and telling you. And I want to be very clear about something. Every single time I failed, I came back with more than I had before. More clarity, more strength, a better version of what I was trying to build. But there was one failure, one in particular, that had nothing to do with business or money or any of the things I thought I was working so hard to protect. It had to do with my family. And that one almost cost me everything that actually mattered. I'll tell you about it, but first, let me tell you about the other falls, because they are part of the same story. There was a time, early in my life, when I built something I was certain was going to work. I had the vision, I had the energy, I had the absolute conviction that I was right, and I was wrong. I was deeply, fundamentally wrong. The business failed. Not slowly, quickly. The kind of failure that makes you question whether you are the person you thought you were. I sat with that for a while, and then, slowly, I began to see something. The failure had not taken anything essential from me. It had taken what I no longer needed. The overconfidence. The blind spots I had refused to examine. The habits that felt like strengths but were actually walls. When I built again, and I did build again, I built differently, not just better, fundamentally different. Because the fall had shown me things that success never would have. The second time, it was a partnership. Someone I trusted completely. Someone I had worked alongside for years, and things fell apart. Not because of malice, but because we had never been honest enough with each other about who we each were and what we each truly wanted. That one was harder because it wasn't just about what I had built. It was about who I had trusted. It made me want to close, to become careful in the wrong way, to build walls where I needed bridges, but I didn't. I chose a different path, and the people who came into my life after that, the partners, the colleagues, the collaborators, found a version of me who knew how to ask better questions, who knew how to listen before committing, who knew the difference between trust and blind faith. The collapse had made me better at the most important skill in any business, reading people, and being honest with them first. There is an idea, very old, from a tradition of wisdom I have studied most of my life, that says something that stopped me the first time I read it. It says, in the place where someone who has truly fallen stands, even the most righteous person cannot stand. Think about what that means. It is not saying that falling is acceptable. It is saying that falling and rising takes you somewhere that a life without falling cannot reach. The person who has never failed has never been tested at the deepest level. They have strength, yes, but it is untested strength. The kind that breaks under real pressure because it has never been forged. The person who has fallen and chosen to rise carries something different. Not just knowledge of how to succeed, but knowledge of who they are when everything is against them. That knowledge, that is not something you can buy. It is not something you can learn from a book. You can only earn it the hard way. And then, the third failure, the one I promised to tell you about. There came a point in my life when I was succeeding. All there and so, by every external measure, things were working. The business was growing. The numbers were right. People around me would have said I had made it. And one evening, I missed my son's school event, not because of an emergency, because of a meeting that, looking back, did not matter at all. I sat in that meeting and I thought, why am I here? Not in an existential way, literally. Why am I in this room when my son is on that stage, looking into the audience for a face that isn't there? The question that broke something open in me. I had been telling myself a story that I was working this hard for my family, for their future, for their security, and in doing so, I had made myself absent from the present that my family actually needed me in. I went home that night and I made a decision, not an emotional decision, a structural one. I looked at everything I was doing personally that someone else could learn to do, and I built a team. I trained them carefully. I gave them real authority, not just tasks, I stopped being the bottleneck in my own business, and something unexpected happened. Not only did I start showing up for my family, for the school events, the dinners, the ordinary Tuesdays that turn out to be the ones they remember. And surprisingly, the business actually grew. Because a business that depends entirely on one person is not a business. It is a job. And I had finally built something that could breathe without me holding it up every second. My son doesn't remember the meeting I skipped for, but he remembers that I was there. I look back now at every fall, every moment I was certain I was finished, every partnership that didn't hold, every plan that didn't survive contact with reality. And I see, with a clarity I did not have then, that none of it was punishment. All of it was preparation. Each failure removed something I didn't need. Each one forced me to build something better in the place of what had broken. If you are sitting with a failure right now, something recent, something that still hurts, I am not going to tell you it doesn't matter. It matters. I am not going to tell you it will be easy. It won't. But I will tell you this. The person you are becoming through this difficulty is someone you could not have become any other way. The fall is not the opposite of success. It is, very often, the first step toward it. So here is what I want to leave you with. We all have failures in our lives. Most of the time, we don't even stop to look at them. We move past them quickly, we bury them, we pretend they didn't happen. But I am convinced of this. If you take the time to sit down, honestly, and ask yourself, where am I falling short right now? Where am I failing? In my work, in my relationships, in my own life? And you look at that answer without flinching, you will find something remarkable, not just a problem. A door. The improvement available to you in that area is not small, it is not incremental, it is extreme. Because the people who are willing to look honestly at where they are failing are the rarest people in the world. And the rarest people make the most extraordinary progress. Look at your failures, not with shame, with curiosity. They are not the story of who you are. They are the map to who you are becoming. And that is the story for today. May you find your way through the fall. I am Salomón. I will see you in the next one. Holding the gaze in silence, this is the moment of reflection before we part.